Down Radio.
Hey, and that's how we'll start this podcast. Like we're doing Phoenix Down Radio, Twitch or Tweets Phoenix Down Radio. Welcome to
not Phoenix Down Radio.
To not Phoenix Down Radio, but instead the Problematic Sticker Podcast. I started it weirdly because I am the weird, and this is problematic.
The weird.
So much feedback. So wow.
Such feedback, much wow.
So,
is there anything you'd like me to read out?
Let me just say hello to all our fabulous hosts. We've got Tim. Tim with us.
Hi.
How are you, Tim?
I'm Tim.
You are Tim. How are you?
Yeah.
Tim because of genetics, and that's what his parents named him.
Yeah.
That's how he is Tim.
I tried to go back in time and rename him Steve, but they denied it. And then they asked me how I time traveled, and I said, somehow.
If I could find a way.
If I could turn back time?
Yep.
If I could turn back Tim?
Well, to be fair, that's not a question. It's Tim. You can easily
that
turn
one
back
stings.
Tim.
I liked it.
And we've got a Klaus, as you can hear from the words.
The words and the thing.
He makes sounds with his mouth.
Hot.
And they are beautiful.
So how are you, Klaus?
I'm all right. Have you gotten enough rest is the question.
Is that a sentence that can be asked about me at any time ever?
True.
Ben, have you been sleeping? Yes, sure, why not?
I mean, this weekend especially, we've had a lot going on in the Final Fantasy side of things, and you've been keeping weird hours because of it.
Yeah, half 5 on Friday, 6 on Saturday.
So what's it going to be tonight?
Probably earlier, hopefully, because sleep.
24 hours!
Look, this isn't Extra Life. I'm not doing that.
That's true.
But to be fair, Extra Life is like 48 hours for me, not 24.
Because you don't sleep to start it.
Yeah, so... Well, because it starts late at night for me, that's why.
That's true.
Yeah.
You can always take a nap.
That is true. I bought some really hot ramen for Extra Life this year, so...
The sun stuff?
Yeah.
I'll have to get a couple more packs. I'm down to one.
I bought a pot of it, like little ramen pots. It was 6 pots for 10 quid, so...
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Just prepare to have your mouth burned.
I can't wait. I was going to try it on the podcast, but I forgot. So, maybe next time. Anyway, we've got a Klaus. How are you doing?
I am well.
Are you
like I said before,
excited from yesterday? Are you finally buzzed about the Daddy of Light?
I am dancing mad.
For anyone that knows, Daddy of Light is a movie based on a blog that's based on Fantasy 14.
Yeah. And I'm cool with that.
Yeah, it's a very sweet thing.
Yes. The blog was amazing. The TV show on Netflix was really cute. The fact that they're making a 2-hour movie out of it that's being actually filmed right now and will be released in Japan on June 21st. I think that is very neat.
Yep. Just before Shadowbringers.
Yeah, I just didn't think they needed to announce it when they announced it. But again, that's just my opinion.
That's fine.
Anyway.
And we've got Neil.
That on twitch.tv/PhoenixStarRadio.
Yeah, twitch.tv/PhoenixStarRadio. And we've got Neil.
You've got me in an advisory.
You've got Neil.
You've got Neil. How are you doing?
I'm doing splendid, thank you. When I'm not being cut off by the...
Oh god, something just happened. Did it literally just happen?
When I'm not getting cut off by
Oh my god.
By the evils of...
the gods of irony.
Am I gone? Am I here?
You were gone.
You were gone. Now you are here.
That's just,
And now he's back.
That's brilliant. How'd you do that?
I don't know, magic. Not the kind of magic I can control, but it's magic.
Fucking magic. So, Neil, while we've got you in this plane of existence for a bit, have you been watching any anime?
Have I been watching any anime Pokemon related? Because my son is on
You know what? Pokemon's cool, so I'll accept it.
Well, then, yes. That's the answer. But,
Good choice.
oh, well, very limited. Very limited. The only animated anything I've watched recently otherwise is Death and Robots on Netflix.
Ooh, I want to watch that.
Nice.
Good.
But it's not Japanese.
Are you looking forward to the One Piece live action?
I don't need a One Piece.
Eh?
That is my general feeling on the old Piece saga.
I just can't wait to see how bad it's going to be done, especially over how much budget it's given. It's given like $10 million budget an episode.
They're also doing the Avatar as well, aren't they?
Yeah, yay.
Yeah. I know, not anime, but...
Well, it's based on anime, so...
Yeah, but those... No, because they're Nickelodeon.
Oh yeah, Avatar's Nickelodeon, isn't it? Well, they used the style. They tried to make it look...
I tell you what, it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Legend and Avatar are like the best Japanese animation and...
Yeah. It's the Power Rangers of anime.
No, it's definitely better than the Power of animation.
You take that, Jack.
Please, I think even my son would punch you for saying things.
And we've got Gary if he's actually here. Gary?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yay!
Yes.
Welcome, Gary. How are you?
All right. How are you?
Tired. So I'm only doing
good.
intros, and I'm going to shut up for the entire podcast.
It's everybody's dream come true.
I know, it's the best day ever. It's that one person on YouTube that said that. He's like, oh, why is Chili on this? Get him off. Drop him. So I'm like, yeah.
Really?
Good boy.
Well, that person is obviously wrong.
Yeah, it's a problem. The more popular you become, that's it. The more you will get.
I asked him why should I, and then I think the comment got deleted. So, good times. Anyway, Gary, have you had a good week with the animes?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. Yeah.
Nice.
I didn't get to see any of the dailies.
Oh, this is going to be a very short podcast, and we've got no weekly and no dailies. Boo boo. Anime, we did it. Good work, everyone. See you all next week.
Wait, what do you mean? No, I watched the Bubblegum Crisis. I just didn't watch the
Oh, I thought you
Fairy
said...
Tale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was confused too. I thought you didn't watch Bubblegum Crisis. That you.
Yeah, we thought that. Because I haven't seen most of that.
No, sorry, no. I watched that. I watched Fairy Tale by the cat.
Okay.
Well, we need to talk about Boruto anyway. We haven't talked about that in like a month.
Yeah, it's been a while. So, do you want to start, Klaus?
Making me do the work?
Oh!
Yes, that's fine. So I think where we last left off, they had just finished that little parent-child day arc, and now we are moving on to some tiny little kind of one episode,
like slice of life episodes, you'd call.
Yeah, a little bit of character growth episodes. The first one we get called Blood, Sweat, and Namida. It's talking about Team 15, which is one of the members of that, Namida. She has her jutsu is called Cry, and it basically, when she gets upset, she emits an ear-splitting sound that basically knocks out everybody around her, friend and foe. So she needs to be very careful when she uses that, because she could actually take out her her allies or her teammates, and that's not good.
Nice.
So they are on a mission, and they're trying to protect these merchants from these bandits, and they end up protecting them, but after she cries and knocks everybody out, including the merchants that they're trying to protect. So they're like, I need to do something to improve myself, because this isn't cool. When I lose my cool and I get all upset and I start crying and everything just goes wrong, and I'm like,
no, we're dead.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're all crying and dead.
Yeah.
But anyway, she spends the episode getting stronger. Hanabe, their captain, she helps to train her and work on her water jutsu skills, and she starts to get pretty good at it, using chakra control and being able to control the strength and distance she can shoot water. It was actually kind of nice to watch, them improve that way. And it was good on her teammates as well, because they all wanted to improve as well, since they saw that Namida was working so hard to get better and get stronger, so she's not relying on this cry. So then they finish and they get another mission to protect more merchants who have a very old scroll from the first Hokage that they need to get to wherever they're going. And they are ambushed by that same band of brigands, and this time she's able to use her. She tries using her water jutsu, but unfortunately they are also water type users, so it's very ineffective. It's not very effective.
I get it.
Haha. Anyway, so she ends up getting upset, but the chakra control allows her to basically morph her cry into a very fine line. So it's a very powerful cry that goes a very long distance and knocks out the boss who's running away with the scroll. And yeah, and so that turned out pretty well, except at the end, then they come back, more of them come back, and she ends up using the regular cry again, and everybody gets knocked out, and they're at the end, they're all like, what? Huh? It's pretty funny.
That's pretty cool. The episode after that was Shikadai's decision.
This was a good one.
The Nara's clan chief elder, which I've forgotten the name of. Did we even get a name?
Yeah, they got a name, but like I said, he was just a one-off.
Yeah.
He just introduced for this particular episode.
He tells Shikadai, which is Shikamaru's son, he should quit being a ninja and try and become a politician to try and increase the reputation of the clan, which is known for its shadow clone. The shadow strangle jutsu.
Enchu is his name.
Yeah,
I guess
that's it.
I found it.
As we know, Shikadai is quite a lazy ninja, just like his father. Though his father was always lazy when he was younger. But his clan is known for its intelligence, and I guess it would be a good idea for him to run for a politician. But he was hesitant. But considering his father's position, he accepts it. And yeah, it's been a while since I saw this episode, but yeah, I remember some of it.
Basically, what ends up happening at that point is they say, that if this is what you want to do, but you know what, you should talk with your friend first.
Yeah.
So he goes out and he tells his friends, he tells Inojin and Chocho, and they're all like, they're not happy with it, but they do trust Shikadai. And if that's what he really wants, then he goes and talks with no, he doesn't talk with Boruto.
Don't think he talks to Boruto.
No, not at all. He ends up talking to some of the other teams, and he ends up getting in touch with Denki, whose father is like one of the CEOs of one of the biggest power companies in the Hidden Leaf Village, and Denki was at the power plant that they protect at the beginning of the episode, because it's his job to kind of oversee that plant, actually. So he was in there taking a look at all the generators, making sure everything's working well, when it fails, and they have to work together then in order to get it to work. And in order to do that, Shikadai has to rely on not his shadow paralysis jutsu, but the wind jutsu that he got from his mom, and he uses that in order to get a wind
so we're
turbine.
Basically getting an arc where they're learning to use their secondary typings.
They're learning to rely on not only their main stuff, but to be more well-rounded as shinobi and as people.
Yeah.
And they end up getting this started to break the feedback loop in the power generation, and they save the power station. And it's at that point that Shikadai realizes that, hey, I shouldn't just rely on one thing. I have these gifts that I got not only from my dad, but from my mom, and I should utilize them fully. So he decides he's going to do that. He's going to work on wind and shadow, and he's going to continue to be a ninja.
That's cool.
Much to Enshu's chagrin, but you know what? He's a backer.
Well, to be fair, he'll never be back in it again. So, yeah.
And then the next episode that we got
was about the birds.
The Cursed Forest. Yes, it was
the birds.
It was Alfred Hitchcock's classic movie in the Boruto universe. Just kidding.
No, I was thinking of Android 16 from Dragon Ball, where he loves the birds.
No. Oh, you're talking about that first guy? The ornithologist?
Yeah.
Oh, that guy was something else, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I do like it for the fact that we end up getting a character coming back that we haven't seen in a while. Jugo.
Yeah. That was the... yeah. It's been ages.
And he was one of the guys who was experimented on by Orochimaru, and he had a cursed seal that made his body transform.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a cursed seal.
Yeah, he did.
Anyway,
that's how Orochimaru, because he was that was how Orochimaru got the cursed seal, wasn't it? Because he extracted it from Jugo.
Was that where it was from?
Yeah, he was experimenting on because Jugo's clan is naturally very good with. Well, it's not good. They're not good with natural energy, but their bodies absorb natural energy.
Yeah.
And then they would go crazy after a while after absorbing too much. So Orochimaru used his body to sort of test on to create the curse seal, and then once he'd mastered it on that, then that's when he started using it to experiment on other people. Yeah, that's where like Sasuke's curse seal, which absorbs natural energy. That's why they could use Jugo's cells to heal Sasuke.
Interesting. It's been a while since I've seen that part of Naruto. So
yeah.
Anyway, they have a mission with Team 15. They're going out to investigate
the birds.
Some birds that are attacking villagers out in the forest. But before they get to their mission briefing, they encounter this guy who's climbing a tree outside of an apartment complex with a pair of binoculars. And Boruto's like, oh my god, it's a peeping Tom. In the middle of the day? Really? So he throws a kunai at him, knocks him out of the tree, and when they get there, they see this guy, is on the ground holding a bird's nest.
He likes the birds.
He was trying to save this rare long-tailed swallow's bird's nest or something like that. So anyway, he apologizes for doing that, but it's like they watch the guy as he licks the nest.
I like to lick the swallow too.
He gets so much more out of it when he can taste it too. Hey, that was his phrasing. So then they're late to the briefing, and Sarada is mad. But it's
she's
Sarada,
always mad, so it's fine.
She's always yeah.
Just
so
like
they got
her
Sarada,
mother.
and they got Team 15 and Konohamaru, but no Hanabi. She is helping with another mission, so it's going to be Team 15 and Team 7, both led by Konohamaru. And a special guest who has very special set of qualifications. He's very special indeed. He's the ornithologist from earlier. He's so special, he licks things. What?
I like,
Yes.
yeah.
The guy that they knocked out of the tree is their special guest.
Yep. Yay.
I like the part when he licks the poop.
I really like that
I
part.
wish I was making that up, but I'm not. They don't show it, but it's implied. Because everybody's like, ew, he just licked poop.
Well, you had to find out if it was fresh poop or not.
And if it was actually, if they were actually eating those special berries, or whatever. But anyway, so they end up getting close to this village, and they hear these weird noises, and they're attacked by these really weird-looking birds. They look like demon ducks, don't you think?
A little bit, yeah.
They're kind of webbed feet, and they got funky bills, and they're pretty big, so they look like demon ducks.
Quack.
And then they're all quacked up. And as Boruto is investigating a little deeper in the forest, he is attacked by a beast-like monster who is has very strong earth and wind jutsu, it seems. He's able to manipulate air in his body to basically create this huge crater, and almost knocks Boruto out. But fortunately, Nue, what's her name? Summoned.
Sumeri. It's like the fake tailed beast.
Yeah.
Sumeri. Yeah. Samurai.
Yeah, Sumeri. They scare him off and are able to get Boruto back to the rest of the group, but they end up saving this villager from these demon ducks, as we call them, and they bring him back to the village, but he's not feeling well. He's got a high fever, and his pulse is really rapid, and he's just not doing well. But neither are a bunch of other villagers, and it turns out they're all starting to develop a curse seal on them.
Oh, well.
And one of them wakes up from their coma, basically, and starts attacking the shinobi. And they were trying to keep it secret from the rest of the villagers, but, well, that secret's kind of been knocked out of the bag at this point. And then Jugo shows up in the village. And basically he draws the villager with the curse mark away, and when Boruto catches up with him and finds him, the villager no longer has a curse mark and is just laying there.
Yeah.
And Jugo is gone. Or no, he's there, but he's kind of he's like, stay away from me, and he runs off.
It's pretended to a kid. I don't know if you remember the fact that...
the enemy likes the frosting?
No, I don't know if you remember, but Jugo can heal people, but when he heals people, he turns into like a child form for a while.
No, he was developing a curse of his own.
All right.
He had absorbed, like we talked about earlier, he absorbed the curse seal of this villager.
But then, that could have been what triggered his child form, though.
I don't think he was a child, though.
Well, if he didn't want people to see him.
No, he didn't want Boruto to see that he was getting this curse mark again.
Okay.
Because they had seen him as normal.
Yeah.
Like I said, he was starting to get the cursed mark all over the back of his neck and face. He didn't want him to see that, so he ran off.
Okay.
But they're too smart, and they follow him, and they find that he has been hiding in this cave, and after he'd absorbed the curse mark, he ends up transforming again into the same form that he fought against earlier.
Yeah, his weird demon form. I actually like Jugo's forms. They're pretty cool.
Yes. So, Jugo isn't behind this, but he is somehow involved? We'll find out more next week.
Yeah.
Because I haven't watched this week's episode yet.
Yeah, that went live today, March 24th, on Crunchyroll. Go check it out. Sub for your instant, what do you call it? Simulcast, or wait until it's free and in a week later and watch it with adverts. So go check out crunchyroll.com. Not plugged. Wish it was plugged.
Hashtag not a sponsor.
Hashtag not a sponsor. Hashtag wish we were sponsored.
Hashtag sponsor me senpai.
Hashtag sponsor me senpais. So I guess that's the weekly's done. Good work, everyone.
So then next week, you guys will talk more about the fairy tales.
We scared everyone off.
Yes, I will.
Yay. So, I guess you guys will talk about Bubblegum Crisis.
Did you not watch it, Ben?
I did not watch. I tried. Something about the animation put me off. I did not like the art style at all.
It is very different.
So I tried. I really did. But I don't know. It wasn't for me. I'm sorry, Gary.
That's fine.
It's very 90s.
Yeah.
It really is.
So I can watch Dragon Ball, and that's very 90s, but that's only because I grew up with it.
That's also a very, very special art style.
Yeah. So, time for Gary's turn to talk.
Gary's turn.
Hey, Neil's watched it too. And Tim, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
Klaus.
got through 22 episodes.
There you go, see?
22 and a half.
Now I can have a nap and shut up. It's what the viewers wanted, really.
Balls.
So.
Alrighty. Bubblegum Crisis, Tokyo 2040. Obviously takes place in the future Tokyo after a big earthquake has destroyed pretty much a lot of the city. The Genom Corporation, a big, massive corporation, creates these machines called boomers as a workforce to rebuild the city and, I guess, try to save as many people as they could, but mostly just to rebuild the city and get rich by doing it. Eventually, they start producing boomers for everyday work, like cashiering and supervisors in offices, really eliminating a lot of jobs for humans. But something is wrong with these boomers. Some of them start to go rogue, and they start attacking and killing people. While they go rogue, they also kind of go through kind of a transformation, which we find out what causes these transformations later on, and it's because of a specific metal that they're all created from.
It's Rita Repulsa, come on.
It's Rita Repulsa, yeah.
Make my boomers squeal!
So the Genom Corporation also has created a specific police force called the AD Police to deal with these rogue boomers. The problem is, though, that the rogue boomer situation is getting a lot worse, but because Genom has controlled almost all media, the media is not reporting on it, which kind of hits close to home stuff as well, with media being controlled by certain things. But yeah, so the AD Police is there, but they're not that useful. Like, it takes them a very long time to control, destroy a robot. Luckily, there is a vigilante group called the Night Sabers, who are vastly superior to the AD Police and are easily able to defeat these rogue boomers. And that's kind of where our story begins. Lena, one of the three main female characters, comes to Tokyo. She's part of a family who is mostly farmers. She comes to Tokyo to kind of become a Night Saber. She hears about them, rumors and blogs that she reads about. It's still kind of a myth. Nobody really knows if they exist or not. But she wants to become one, and it leads her to Tokyo. And of course, stuff happens that leads her to encounter a rogue boomer, and eventually she pretty much deduces one of the characters that she encounters, named Chris, is one of the Night Sabers, and she follows her to pretty much the base of the Night Sabers and ends up joining them. And yeah, that's kind of the premise of the story, and a lot of at least the first half of the show really deals with them kind of taking on these rogue boomers. But there's always a lot of hints and a lot of scenes and that kind of show you this overarching story that that they're building to with the Genom Corporation, and they're now kind of moving into controlling energy. They're building this massive satellite that's going to monopolize energy uses, pretty much. I believe using the sun's solar power, and because of the dwindling resources on Earth now, they're pretty much Genom himself. Rosenkreitz, I believe his name is. He's pretty much in it for the money, and we learn a little bit about him and his backstory to a lot of the stuff that's been going on. But there's also Mason, his vice president, who has his own little scheme that he's brewing up, and it gets into a lot of the later episodes what the big roles a lot of these characters play before the big earthquake and obviously after it. But yeah, Ben mentioned he wasn't into the animation. I don't see how he couldn't be, personally. I think the animation is fine for its time. A lot of the anime, I believe at least, from what I've seen at the time period, was kind of using the same style. Yeah. Dragon Ball, of course, is a very unique style to Akira Toriyama, but a lot of I guess you can say mass-produced anime at the time really used the same type of style.
Yeah, still though, that opening to this is just genuinely striking. I find it's very much shows up the inventiveness of that era, that you could have such the ways of showing stuff. And I think just the way it presents the whole future cityscape as, I think, it is honestly really just fucking amazing the way it's done there. So I think you can criticize the animation in general for being quite similar to things, but I think it does it really well. And when it needs to show what it needs to show, it
and I think we lost Neil again.
it kicks him off because it doesn't want to be told.
Damn, I wonder why it's doing. That's unfortunate.
Where did you lose me?
You said the style for time.
Yeah, style for the time, is fine. For this, because they punctuate it with really good storytelling through visuals in that opening alone. Right? They show everything they need to show to set you in the place that it is. And I think very few, even TV shows, don't manage that. So I think you can say a lot about the animation. It puts its point across very well.
Mm-hmm. And I think what really sets, at least for me, what really threw me into Bubblegum Crack, I watched it a long time ago when it was on the Stars Network. Actually, they at the time they had this anime sequence where it played from like 11 p.m. to about 2 p.m. where they just showed anime, and this was one of the shows. And I watched it, and I fell in love with it pretty quickly, actually. And I think one of the things that really drew me into it was actually the story. And it may be kind of a story where we've had bits and pieces of it we've seen in other media. It's mostly a story about pretty much machines acting out against their servants, which are humans, and machines are pretty much slaves, and we get a really good understanding of that in I guess the second to last episode, where we find out like the big true motive of the main big bad in the show. And I think it does a really good job of really giving you an understanding of where the world is at the time that it's taking place. Obviously, the big monopolies, big corporations controlling everything, but also like the character development. Each character, I believe, gets a very good amount of screen time and a great backstory, and I cared about all of them. Even a lot of the side characters, I felt really they did a really good job with a lot of them, especially like characters like Leon, the 80 police officer, and how much he hates the lightsabers because they're kind of making him look bad, and then how he kind of evolves as a character. And I feel like it does that a lot of the characters in the show, and even some of the more annoying. Like when I first watched it, I really hated Celia's character. Like she's always angry, she's always acting out. Why is she just like one-sided character? And we learn why that is through the story and what happened to her, and what her real motivations are. I'm not saying it's all perfect or anything, but I think it really does a good job in almost all the aspects of what it's trying to do.
Yeah, I think it's formative. A lot of stuff that has come since. You were pointing out the way that so many things are taken by this, and maybe not even done them as well. I think it deserves more credit than it gets.
Yeah, for sure. And it's mostly an all-female cast. Again, I absolutely each of the characters is very, very unique. Like, obviously Pris is kind of the hard-ass character. Lena is, naive, but yet I want to be the best. And then you have Nene, in a way, who's just kind of the child character, but she's also very smart at what she does. She's, her hacking ability. But we all see how well they complement each other in the show, and how they can't really do anything on their own. Like, they always need the others to help them out. The relationships that all the characters build around each other, I think, is really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, it just, again, you have so many shows now doing that sort of thing. It took a long time for a lot of things to catch up.
Mm-hmm. And then you got the boomers, who I think are a very interesting choice of enemies that they take on, because we kind of see some of the things that cause them to kind of go rogue. I guess we saw the one with the waitress. She spilled coffee. The guy's like, clean up my spill by licking it, and then she kind of the boomer starts to kind of get this weird urge to start cleaning everything with her tongue, and it just starts causing her to go crazy in a way.
You sure this wasn't just a video of Tim?
I wish it was a video of Tim.
I know, that coffee would kill me.
Yeah.
I'm talking about cleaning everything with your tongue.
But we see what really starts causing them to go this way, and it's pretty much the way they're being treated by people. Here's a group of machines that was created to rebuild the city, and then once it was rebuilt, all of a sudden everybody started spitting on them. They didn't want them anymore. It's kind of one of those things where you kind of feel for them, even though they're machines, they're not supposed to have feelings. But we see kind of what starts causing them to have these kind of emotions, I guess you can say, which causes them to go rogue and act out. I think another one of the striking moments for me, with the boomers at least, is the sound design that they chose for them. They're rogue. Like, the screeching, screaming that they do is very distinct, very unique. It was kind of gave you goosebumps sometimes when you heard it. But yeah, I've kind of rambled on a little bit. What about Klaus and Tim? What did you guys think of the show?
Tim, you go ahead and go first.
Oh shit, son.
Oh,
Well, I have conflicting opinions on this show, and I think a lot of it comes down to not the time it was created in, but the time I'm watching it in.
Yeah.
Because when I watch this anime, I see something that runs along like a combination of Neon Genesis Evangelion and Cowboy Bebop, kind of being put together into something that would be a because those two were hot at that time. So they were trying. I feel like they were creating something in that vein to capitalize on an idea they already had. So they want to take this idea and adapt it to something that people were liking, and they put it in that together.
Sure.
And it would have been one of those animes that you stumble across back then, because there wasn't much, and you go, oh shit, this is kind of cool because nobody knows it, and I want to talk about it. And now it's watching something like this now doesn't have that same type of energy because there's so much to consume that I watched through 22 episodes, but I found myself often zoning out because it does a lot of things that other shows have done. And I mean, that's how all media is, really. There's nothing that's unique. But I don't know, I think that because the world building was really cool and some of the characters were really cool. For some reason I really related to Lena,
yes.
Like how she was so willing to not deal with people's shit. Like she fucking scaled a building to stop somebody on a motorcycle. Like, I love that shit. I really love the way that a lot of characters are depicted and created, and even the world is really well built. I love the concepts that they put into this movie, but the thing that constantly took me out of it was the quality of writing. And it was very just like, let's get to from point A to point B. Here's a little bit of a laugh filler. Here's this, here's that, and then a little bit of like sprinkled here and there were these like quality hitting points, and I feel like they were writing around those. So like I don't think that the writing was given enough time of day to really make it into something that this world and this concept deserved.
Because I wonder if it's the writing or if it's the translation at the time.
Yeah,
like,
that's
did you watch the English dub or did you watch the Japanese?
We watched the dub, like whatever, what you recommend on Funimation.
By the way, I just want to do something quickly. I've bought some really hot ramen that is supposed to be really painful, so I want to take my first bite while we're recording. So I'm going to take a bite now.
Oh, intermission. Let's go for it.
It's been nice knowing you, Ben.
That guy just got my lead belly.
Oh,
I want some hot stuff, baby. This is you did.
oh, yeah.
Did he just die?
I should not have put the whole packet in.
Pack it up, pack it in. Let me begin.
This is for Susan Sprinkles.
You didn't just dump the packet in your mouth, did you?
No, I dumped the packet into the thing and mixed it up.
Okay, as long as you didn't just...
The only time I've had this tingle in my mouth is when I've eaten a ghost pepper, so this is about the equivalent of a ghost pepper, I think.
Ooh.
It's not as bad as they're saying online, though. It's very hot, it's painful, but it definitely has a flavour.
The reason it's so bad is because it's an oil-based sauce.
Yeah, so I would give this about a 7.
I love how you were able to just come back from it like that. I kind of respect a lot. I respect that a great deal. Like, I'm dying. Objective opinion.
I also kind of frightened by the idea that...
Yeah, like you were really ready for this somehow.
I've been looking at it for the last 3 minutes. It's been in front of me, so...
So it takes you 3 minutes to prepare for mouth scalding pain.
Well, no, the ingredients said, put boiling water in it, wait 4 minutes. So...
That was the ingredients?
The cooking instructions. So...
The ingredients. Mix everything together.
I didn't
what
put
kind of ingredients is that shit?
I didn't put the sesame seeds in just because I don't know if they're with my allergies. I didn't want to risk it.
Smart.
That's
smart.
So, yeah.
Anime.
Thank you for that intermission. Brought to you by Ben and his dying mouth.
You can buy this on Amazon. I bought 6 packs for 10 quid.
Jesus. But yes, we were at translation and whether it was...
That's a really good point. I hadn't even considered that.
I'm sure Klaus watched the Japanese dub, so
actually no, I watched it dubbed as well. That's the
you
only
did.
way I could find it.
While we're on this question of dub, I mentioned when we started that some of you may hate Nene's voice. Was I right or wrong about this?
She was fine. She's a voice actor in something else, and I could not place it. That's actually what irritates me. I could not place where she was from.
Hillary Hogg.
That doesn't help me.
She is. That's okay. I'm bringing up her.
Doesn't help me either.
Here. Let's see. I'll start listing something that she's been in.
A car.
Full Metal Panic. Talitha Testarossa.
How do I not know that? How do I not know that name?
Angel Beats. She's Yui.
Angel Beats. That's an anime.
She has a lot. I mean, she has a huge filmography, actually. So
okay.
I don't know. I guess I'm not sure what you've watched. Let me send this to you.
Well, who is he? Who is she? Who is he? Who is she in Full Metal?
Talitha Testarossa.
Why is that name not clicking?
Anyway, I put the link in the Discord. So you can dig through it. But
is that
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh, Full Metal Panic. I kept thinking Full Metal Alchemist. Who's that?
No, not Full Metal Alchemist.
Dude, I gotta tell you, there was a period of time in my life where, and I think this is be attributed to the fact that anime was so scarce back then. The fact that two animes had a similar title like that threw me off every single time. I had to think about it. It's like someone say Full Metal, I'm like, what Full Metal? There's even a jacket. Okay.
Anyways, yeah. I actually didn't mind voice acting in this at all. I think the English dub was actually very well done.
It was all right.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I particularly liked Rosenkreuz's voice, and Mason's voice actor was really well done.
Yeah, dude, he was such a dick. His voice actor depicted that really well.
Mason?
Rosenkreuz.
Rosenkreuz, yeah.
Guildenstern.
Head of Ghetto. But yeah, for the most part, I thought it was very well. There's some hits and misses there. I thought Lena's voice actress was good for the most part, but she had some lines that, yeah.
She had some lines, yeah.
She sure had lines.
Yeah.
Now, this is kind of like a side thing, and it really has nothing to do with any sort of objectivity or opinion, valid opinion whatsoever. And this is not a fault of the anime, but every time I heard the name Nene, I could not accompany it with "Watch Me Whip."
My God.
I get it.
It was awful. It was awful.
I mean,
shitty music has ruined my life.
Luckily, I watched this before that was a thing, but yeah, unfortunately, it does have.
Yeah, it's no fault to the anime. I fully realize this, but circumstantially, I was caught in a pile of shit for every time her name was mentioned.
Just to mention, you were saying earlier about the fact that you watched it at this time had an impact probably on how you felt.
Yeah,
it's a very true thing. I just to relate this recently. I recently watched the film Rashomon, which has had such an influence on so much of cinema in the years since it came out in 1950.
Whoa!
And because it's telling the story in flashbacks, the unreliable narrator, and all those tropes, they come from there. It's just
unreliable narrator, you say?
Yeah, but it's because it's like it's telling you this is what happened, but you're going to hear it from different perspectives. Done, and it's set in feudal Japan.
Would you write that name for me?
Rashomon. I'll do it. Yeah,
that's exactly like writing.
It is. Are you telling me you don't have your fucking Google fucking mini just there to listen to what I said?
No.
Okay.
I failed you. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I'm American. I'm lazy. Do it for me.
Rashomon. Anyway, yeah, Rashomon is.
I could not have guessed that, dude. I could
sure
not have guessed that.
Was that like
Yeah,
pig Pokemon? Rashomon.
Oh man, you make a lot of people sad today.
Look, my mouth's on fire. Okay, that's the most entertainment you're going to get from me right now.
I set my mouth on fire.
If it wasn't for the director Akira Kurosawa, there would not be a lot of American films, including a spaghetti western.
That's a franchise I've always wanted to get in. This is going to sound really stupid, but spaghetti westerns are something I've wanted to get into thanks to Bob's Burgers. And I don't want to say that was like the beginning thing, but because I've obviously seen oh God, what's it called? The Kung Fu Hustle. And I know that's not a Western, but I've seen it. I know it's like that. And I've also seen The Good, the Bad, and the Stupid, a Korean film.
Weird. It's Good, Bad, and the Weird.
There we go. Yeah, Good, the Bad, and the Weird. And I love that stuff. And I feel like spaghetti westerns would be right up my alley. So now that you've mentioned it, I had to say something.
Man. Yeah, and Clint Eastwood is so effort as well. But before you watch them, watch Rashomon. Watch any Akira Kurosawa if you can,
because he makes mad films.
He made
films.
He made films that influence other films. It's just there's so much. But if you watch them, having watched everything you've ever watched in your life since that has been influenced by it, you're like, okay, yeah, I get it. But it has a dilution by default because you've had that. You can't help. God, what am I thinking? There's a film in particular I'm thinking of here because it's not just that film, but like what's it called? There's a Kurosawa film that's basically a major influence on George Lucas and Star Wars.
Okay, I'm sorry. Like I don't know why I just made this connection, but that song 1 Week, that's what Kurosawa. Yep. That's Kurosawa. Oh my God, I'm such a loser.
Oh my God.
Woof, I suck, dude.
Anyway, the film The Hidden Fortress was like a big influence on Star Wars. But to watch it now, it's like you get how it influenced Star Wars, but also the impact is dulled somewhat because you watch Star Wars. It's unfortunate, and you can't help when you were born and when you watch things. So it's unfortunate. That's it. So
you're telling me that by the end of it, I'll be like, Simpsons did it. That's what you're telling me.
Star Wars did it.
Simpsons did it.
It's amazing what I've discovered with Kurosawa. His films really did influence so much of Western filmmaking. It is unreal. Like that, his films are celebrated for. He has done so much that works, even up until like he started in the 40s or like the 80s, and still made like what you would probably consider, if you hadn't watched other films first, 5-star films. But the fact that you have watched those films first, because just the way culture is in the West. It dilutes what could be very special. And I think for me, with Bubblegum Crisis, I saw that before I saw the thing it influenced, and maybe that's why it's more special to me than it is for someone watching it now. So I can totally get why you would.
Okay, I'm going to weigh in on this a little bit. Talking about the influence. Tim had kind of alluded to this a little bit. A lot of animes in the 90s were all very similar. You look at Cowboy Bebop, you look at Outlaw Star, you take Bubblegum Crisis. They all have very similar tropes, very similar storylines. They all kind of leaned on each other. One would take the story, they would go, and the next one would take it and improve it a little bit, and so on and so forth. And I think this is where we get Bubblegum Crisis is kind of in that mix, where it's taken some of the similar tropes. Like I see a lot of similarities to Bebop. You've got Nene kind of reminds me of the of Edward, that character.
Yep.
And you've got Spike and trying to think. Spike would kind of almost be like what I name
me,
like Priss, really. I kind of think, and so I mean, it's being I saw Bebop first, and it came out first.
Yep.
So
It's actually one of the things I checked. Like I wanted to, before I got into the conversation, I wanted to talk about.
It wasn't much before. I mean, Bebop came out in early '98. This came out late '98.
99.
So, 98 to 99. Actually, it came out in October of '98.
And Evangelion came out in '96.
Yeah, so a lot of it came from Evangelion did it first.
Oh, actually, Bubblegum Crisis came first because Tokyo 2040 is a retelling of Bubblegum Crisis from 1981.
That's right. And
oh, really?
Simpsons did it.
Simpsons did it.
The Simpsons did it. Sorry, my mistake. 1987.
That's right.
Man, that's as old as I am. That sucks.
Yeah, I mean, it ended in 99. That maybe this is where the confusion lies. It is very much at a point where anime was being discovered by the world.
And it really doesn't matter what did it first and who's what.
Exactly.
Like you said, Klaus, like it's very important to know that a lot of anime back then lived off each other. Like it was an industry that was trying to make itself work, and through that they had to almost work vicariously. Like they had to get a foothold to establish each other, not just themselves. And it was in namesake that they had to do that. And then a lot of luck of the draw. And then, however, it was managed to get, obviously distributed in Japan and then distributed throughout the world. However, because that was kind of just a crapshoot back in the 90s.
But yeah, especially in this country where, you only get certain things at a time. And
like the big green dub.
You mean the best dub?
Shut up, Ben.
No, but here,
don't do it.
Fist of the North Star was special because it was one of the first things you really got to see in this country in terms of anime that was an adult anime, not Dragon Ball Z, not Pokemon. It was something that was like
Inuyasha. Yeah.
Like
all the Toonami animes.
Yeah. So it really does depend on what you saw first, and you can understand why people find one show beloved over another. And why
anyway,
that's not fun.
Words are hard.
Being said, I'm also like Tim. I'm mixed on this. There were parts that I really liked. Much of the art style was fine to me because, like I said, I'm very used to '90s anime, and I like the hand-drawn styles. I like the way it flows. I wasn't as big of a fan of the suits personally.
Yeah.
I think that Final Fantasy VIII drew its influence from some of these suits.
Oh yeah, this is probably why I love Fantasy VIII.
The truth comes out.
If you look at Celia's suit, it looks very much like an S-Time Soldier.
Yeah,
it had to go full circle into Final Fantasy, didn't it?
Hashtag.
By the way, I really wish they'd remaster 8. I would love to play 8 again. 8 is one of my favorites.
You know that.
I'd like to play 8. Period.
But let's just lay cards on the table here. 8 is the best, without a shadow of doubt.
Okay, I can't make an opinion, but there's
moving back to the anime.
Yeah, 8 is okay, but continuing on. I did have major problems with the way the story was laid out. The anime was very hard to get into right away. It doesn't make sense until you're very deep into the late teens, early 20s in the episodes.
Sounds like real life.
The first few episodes really, they determine whether or not you want to continue to watch it, and I had to struggle to keep going.
Yeah. And I think again that comes back to if you watch it now, it is very much a case of you have been spoiled at this point by so much.
We have a glut of anime that we can watch, and if we don't like something, it's not for us. We'll go and find something else. Back in the 90s, we didn't have that luxury, so you took it and you liked it.
It was much easier to withstand some of the drawbacks of older anime back then.
Yeah, I used to stay up till like stupid o'clock in the morning to watch this shit. You know, that is
Stupid o'clock in the morning.
That's basically, you shouldn't be awake if you have a job that starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. You should not be awake now. That's anywhere between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning. And I used to often do that with this, Fist of the North Star, things. And because it was a rarity then. Now, anime is everywhere. You can get anime on tap for less than a price of burger and a pint. You know, so why not? Yeah, but then it was precious.
Yeah, it was expensive. I mean, you had to buy very expensive VHS or DVDs in order to get this, and you only got 2 or 3 episodes.
Hey,
Klaus, you thought we even got those here?
Well, I'm just talking about my experience back in college.
Sure. Or in our country, you were lucky that a channel would show it.
Yeah. We didn't get Dragon Ball on VHS and DVD until 2011.
Yeah, Sky was the only place that I think.
Yeah, you couldn't buy it retail at all.
Yeah, we had limited bits on TV, like with Toonami and stuff like that. But there were a lot of other animes available, but you had to go to places like Suncoast. I don't know if you guys remember Suncoast.
Oh, yeah.
And you'd go to those. They had anime sections, and I would spend hours in there and look at that and then walk out because I'm not spending $20 for one DVD.
Oh, my God, hashtag.
Yeah.
But,
to be fair, that's about the same price they are nowadays.
That was real. I remember there was a place called FYE that we would go to because they had used DVDs and stuff. So that's where we go for anime.
Or maybe eBay had just started, so maybe you could find some deals there.
Yes. Any other things you wanted to say, Klaus?
Aside from all of those things, like I said, once you finally get into the story, it does start to make more sense. It does become a bit more interesting, and I will end up finishing this. I'm halfway through 23 as we speak. It's actually sitting up on my screen right now. So I will end up finishing it. But like I said, I had to slog through the first 7 or 8 episodes before it started to get interesting. I do think some of these subplots were kind of tacked on. Like I think it actually might be a little bit better if they didn't just force on these romantic subplots that are in there. But
yeah.
Aside from that, like I said, it's not a terrible anime.
Not at all.
It's a very 90s anime.
Yeah.
You were very right, Gary, when you said that the first half you recommended getting to the second half before stopping.
Yep, and that's the reason why I kept doing it, because you said that it's going to be tough. So it's like, okay, I will slug through this. I will try and pay as much attention as I can. But like I said, it was tough. I will admit.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. If I had been coming into this now, I'm sure you've heard how critical I've been certain that way in the past. This would have been a very tough watch had I never watched this before. But yeah.
I wonder if this was part of the issue that Gary had with Cowboy Bebop.
Maybe?
No.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
I myself that.
Gary, I hate to tell you, Gary, it is the issue.
Yeah, I mean, because I had similar reservations on Outlaw Star.
Yeah, I can't watch that one anymore. I watched a bit of it back then, and I still wasn't that super interested, so I can't watch it now.
I don't want to.
See, you defend Outlaw Star the way we defend Cowboy Bebop.
And that's not really a war.
Because they're
like
both
we're
highly
all
acclaimed.
on the same side, really.
Yeah.
But at least we can all agree upon Evangelion.
No, because Gary's never seen it, and he's never going to like it because
it's coming to Netflix.
I have to see it then. I never got the chance to see it.
Yeah, it's coming to Netflix in June, I believe.
Apparently, I'm going to have to watch the Japanese version.
Anyway, that's basically all I had to say on it. So.
Yeah.
And Chili finished the ramen.
He's alive? Or not?
As he starts choking.
Yeah, just in time for his own demise.
Brilliant.
Well, hopefully he stays alive long enough to at least hit the stop record button and put this up.
Yeah, we would like that. at least.
But I mean, if you did enjoy it, there is a cool spin-off called the 80 Police that they did, which kind of just follows the 80 Police and shows you kind of their perspective of dealing with and stuff. Very fun show. Like if you like the episodes where Nene is trapped in the 80 Police building, and the boomers are kind of coming out of the storage area. You'll if you like those episodes, you'll like the 80 show. It's pretty much kind of like that.
Yeah. I would like to say that I feel like the statement's being made with this show by calling the creations that need to be eradicated boomers. Because I know there are generational divides, and I feel like there is something in that. With that
technically,
name.
Aren't they called Voomers?
Boomers?
No, they're boomers.
Well,
yeah, boomers.
There's a slide in the actual show where they're talking about it when basically they're
it was a translation error. It's supposed to be Voomers, but during the translation it became Boomers. It's kind of like the over 9,000 in Dragon Ball Z, where it should have been it's over 8,000.
I think given the time it was,
yeah,
that's a very happy accent. That's it.
Yeah. Well, I know there's a lot of issues like that you got with R and L as well, but I'm just addressing that because I don't think that was an actual legitimate thing.
No.
That they're boomers, but
I'm like,
it really was just a happy coincidence.
I should also mention every title of each episode, the titles of each episode, is either a title from a rock song or a rock song album title.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, the only other thing I can think does shit like that is JoJo, where everything is fucking music based,
Is that a JoJo reference?
Yeah.
Well, Cowboy Bebop as well.
Yeah,
it's a JoJo reference.
Actually, that's very true.
And Samurai Champloo.
Dude, so good.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, though, that's the same director, so it's only natural.
Yeah, Bebop and Champloo were done by the same.
And there's a lot of them. Bubblegum Crisis. They used Led Zeppelin. They used the Eagles, Jimi Hendrix, the Ramones, Pink Floyd. So,
is it any wonder that Hideo Kojima is obsessed with that kind of?
No. Yes. No.
No. Maybe. Can you repeat the question?
You're not the boss of me now.
and of course, Soken. Masayoshi Soken from Final Fantasy.
So much music this week.
So much music, yes.
It's kind of great.
Yeah,
and you're not so big.
Life isn't fair.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I love that show so much. I don't get sick of it.
There were worse shows. That is for sure.
Oh my god.
So let's wrap this up, I think.
Because Chili needs to go wash his mouth out.
Well then, Gary, who's in charge of this episode? Come on.
I am.
Well then, get on.
Gary, out of 10.
Yes. Out of 10. Like I said, I enjoyed it.
I said out of 10.
Oh my god.
8.5 out of 10.
How much? 8.5?
Yes.
Okay. Tim.
I think 7.
Neil.
9.
Klaus.
I gotta go 7 as well.
Sounds like numbers. Who wants to do this week's anime? Tim, did you find one for this week?
No.
I did one recently. Neil, do you want to do one?
Do I want to do one?
Yeah, do you want to pick one?
Seriously, come on.
Yes, you do.
Of course he does.
I've not had the time to think of it.
Fine.
I can pick another one if you...
No, Klaus.
I'm not going to be here next week, probably.
Yeah, but we can still talk about it.
Okay, then, because a new season just came out, I'm recommending High Score Girl.
Okay, fine. High Score Girl. We're doing that.
It's on Netflix.
No.
High School Girl. Let me check if that's actually on there.
Wait, yes, I want to see this.
It's amazing. It's actually
like,
done by Square Enix.
It's like a bottle of 90s arcade lifestyle.
Yes, it is fabulous.
High
wanna
school
see
girl. High school girl.
Don't take
with
my
some-
word for it. High score girl.
High score girl. It's look. Words are hard right now. Okay.
What word? Breathing
It.
sounds hard.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Actually, I think it's secondly.
I may not be on next week, but I'm still not.
Nice.
Times is hard.
We can give us a message what you think of it, if need be.
It sounds interesting. So.
I can read.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it actually has footage from the actual games.
Oh, that's a...
It's
Yeah, it looks
like real
sweet.
games. Talking about real consoles. I mean, it actually gets in depth with discussing the games themselves.
I see Street Fighter 2 mentioned here.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot of games. Like I said,
No,
it is a treasure trove of '90s arcade
Yeah, man.
and console.
Oh, BE. Yeah, I'm looking through this episode list, and it is fantastic. Yeah.
But the real beauty of this series is going to be in the interaction with the main character and the sub characters that come into it.
So, shout outs, Gary.
Shout out to you guys. Neil, thanks for being on. Been a long time, as always. Shout out to Fonzie, to Chris. Klaus, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. Yeah. Listeners, as always.
Neil.
He's been absorbed by the void.
No, not the void. So close.
The Void.
No. Neil, go ahead.
Go, Neil.
Was I next? Sorry.
Yes.
I lost it for all of 5 seconds, and it must... It's like, Dead Pixels BD on Twitter, please. At Nesco, NEZZKO on Twitter. That is me. Follow us there, please. Thank you. And thank you for everyone for having me tonight.
We missed you.
Well, I'm not here.
Klaus.
Aw.
Yeah, we should talk to you when you're not here. Just kidding. Neil, good to have you on again.
Neil's so shitty with all his good opinions.
He makes us look bad.
So I'm so shitty that the internet comes out to book.
No, your internet cannot handle your awesomeness.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Ben, to Tim, to Gary, amazing co-hosts. Thank you as always for having me. Shout outs to Anime Detour coming up this weekend, March 29th through the 31st. I will be hosting a panel, so you want to be a podcaster. Hoping to do broadcast it live on twitch.tv/Phoenix Down Radio, and hopefully Ben will be joining me on.
Yeah, I can give them a tip of don't eat really spicy ramen while recording a podcast.
No, do it. That's like perfect.
Just don't do it during this panel, please.
I promise not to.
Like I said, if I get home on time, I'll hopefully be able to join you guys. But otherwise, I will be regaling you with a whole bunch of tales from the anime convention with all the different cosplays and things like that. Shout out to all the listeners. Thank you for listening. And if you want to follow me, you can check me out on Twitter at PHXDN_KLAUSS.
And he really means check out.
Yeah, check him out.
Check
Is that a JoJo's reference?
Uh-huh.
Everything's a JoJo's reference. Even saying that is a JoJo's reference.
I can't remember. Did I have Tim do a shout out?
Not yet.
Tim, do your
Hey.
words.
I guess a big thing, since this is an anime podcast, I'm gonna bring up video games and say that I really appreciate Ben and Klaus for helping me get through a bunch of random low-level stuff in Final Fantasy XIV. I almost said Kingdom Hearts. In Final Fantasy XIV, I appreciate it. It's been
You're
a
welcome.
big help. You guys, get in the van.
You're welcome.
Gary for the cool recommendation. We ended up having a really sweet conversation about it, so I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. And we weren't all just agreeing on it, which is really nice to hear.
Mm-hmm. And Neil for being basically the symbol of sex as we know it. Then Ben for being the spiciest bastard in the world. And Fonzie for being like just the guy with the craziest life stories in the world.
He is JoJo in real life.
Yeah, we.
Is that an Alfonso reference?
Is JoJo's a Fonzie reference?
Yes.
I'd like to shout out to everyone that's listening. Shout out to Neil. Thank you for being on. Shout out to Klaus. I hope to join you for Anime Detour next week. I look forward to the panel. Been the first time I've hosted a panel, so it'll be interesting. Well, co-hosting.
For both of us.
So, but if there's problems in it yet, good luck. I know you'll do well. A shout out to Gary and Tim. Thanks for joining us as always. And a shout out to Alfonso. We miss you. So until next week, if I'm still alive, which I probably will be, because I'll end it with time to poop some Hadoukens. Goodbye, everyone.
After those noodles, I don't think that's what's going to be happening.
Yeah.